Sons of the Forest, a huge amount of copies sold. 2 million as publicly put out there. I reckon about 4 million by now. 82% positive rating on Steam. One of the most hyped survival games in years, and now it's out. But what about next? What's going on with the future? Well, the official Reddit for Sons of the Forest, or I say the official, the biggest one at least, they have got a pretty good Discord. I'm going to have links to that as well as the actual transcript of some questions they asked. They asked everyone to put the biggest and most questions they wanted answered, and they chose the top 25 to send to N-Night. N-Night have already applied. So here's the breakdown. I've cut it into distinctly what I think you need to know rather than going through every single word. And I will be dropping in a big dose of my opinion. Obviously the links are there, so go and look it up if you don't want to hear my opinion. But maybe you agree, maybe you disagree. Let's go through the future of Sons of the Forest. So first question, is there going to be more stuff for Kelvin and Virginia to do? Is their AI going to be improved and other stuff? And will there be more companions? N-Night didn't answer about the other companions, but they did say they're going to get Kelvin to complete more structures, like a wall around your base, fortify repair when the base is going to be under attack and needs repairing. And for Virginia, they plan to add more to her AI particularly. They're going to make her more brave if she has a weapon, and also as she racks up her kill count, she'll get even better. Who are we playing and where's the lore for the character that we are? As well about Kelvin, Eric and Timmy. Now if you're new to the Forest franchise, Eric and Timmy are two of the main characters from the original. You play Eric, the crash survivor looking for his son Timmy. Dev said simply there'll be loads of story added, just like it did state in early access. Apparently going to be new cutscenes, new areas that will expand and flesh out the story. I've already kind of been a little bit critical. The ending I don't mind, but getting to that point it isn't really explained very well with certain things or who some of the characters are. So yeah, I'm totally down for more of that. People really want to see more gore and dismemberment mechanics taking on the mutants and the cannibals. Devs have said it's not really on their list, but it might be something they look at in the future. Question number 4, what happened to the scrapped ideas for the game? Now obviously it's early access, I wouldn't have called them scrapped, but just obviously not in, and that's what N-Night confirmed. But things like the night vision goggles, the solar panels we saw in the trailer, climbing axe maybe from the original or game files, as well as the battery charger that is meant to be going with the solar panels, plus the heaters and stuff like that. They also ask about Kelvin's original name, why it's called Robbie in the files, and they simply called him Zombie Boy in development, N-Night, then Robbie, and then they settled on Kelvin. Is there going to be any other way for transportation? The original game added the glider eventually, where you knew you could build yourself a little turtle shell roller coaster or ramp. Apparently N-Night have got something cool up their sleeves, but I don't want to go into details yet, just in case it's not as fun as they think it's going to be or doesn't work well with the environment. So what could that be? I mean, to me the obvious answer would be another glider. But at the moment you don't really need to go up to the mountain too often, unless there could be some sort of volcanic gases that would give hot air to give you moments to use it around the island. Other than that, what about a Segway that worked on the paths? I think that would be pretty cool, just running around on that. Got any suggestions for that? Pop it in the comment section. What's going on with cheating and griefing is question number 6. You don't know there's an achievement for being a trusted player. Basically, if you're a good boy, I'm not too sure how you actually activate it yet. But yeah, there is some sort of thing that you can get or earn for not being a douchebag. They are looking into ways to limit griefing risks and expand tools for hosts. Bottom line, they've just got to have a couple of options. It can't be that hard to stop players being able to kill Kelvin or Virginia. At the moment, they're meant to respawn every time you start a new session, but I've seen literally maybe 50 or 60 reports and comments across Reddit and my own videos stating that they haven't actually come back. And the only way to do it at the moment is to go into the game files, some long tedious process to then revive them. Other things as well, there's been some security breaches with people being able to join private servers. A lot of streamers reported that. So there needs to be quicker and easier ways to kick people, I guess. And maybe some sort of mode where other players can't actually damage you or your structures. Once you've got that nailed down, what else do you really need to worry about? Number 7, man, honestly, I don't know what's going on with you guys in the community. Why are you asking about the forest? The forest is done, it's dead, it's gone, it's finito. They haven't had an update for that game in like 3 years. But that's what apparently people were asking. Some people want updates to VR and maybe some bug fixes. And the devs have simply said they're focused on Sons of the Forest early access. They'll decide future plans once the early access process is close to complete. And now the big one, that console fans be hoping or waiting for, nothing's much has changed. Is it going to come to consoles? They've said they're really excited to bring the game to PlayStation and possibly Xbox after the early access period, but we don't currently have any firm plans. Right now we just want to make sure this is the best PC game we're able to make. If you don't know, The Forest, the original game, sold millions on PlayStation. Came out in like November or October back in like 2018, and then the next year it was still in the top 20 downloadable bought games across America and the EU. It beat so many big games like Ark and Conan, even beat the launch of DayZ that came out in 2019, so it was a huge game. That's a huge achievement considering that most games make all their money, or a big chunk of their money, in the first month of release. So yeah, PlayStation really helped them out and probably contributed a lot to the development of getting Sons of the Forest where it is today. But it was always sad they never got the time to do it to Xbox. They did the port themselves, which is unusual, not to palm it off to someone else. And then they started obviously working on Sons of the Forest. So fingers crossed, if they do decide to bring Sons of the Forest to console in a couple years, 18 months, that's my best prediction. I don't see this coming out of early access for at least another year. Then maybe take them 6 months to maybe do the port for PlayStation. Fingers crossed, yeah, they could do it on Xbox as well. And who knows, maybe they can outsource it this time, maybe to get things going a bit quicker. But it'd be great if they could do like a double pack and bring the original Forest out onto Xbox alongside Sons of the Forest. Question 9, what's going on with features? Is there a work in progress? We know some of them are, but is there going to be a roadmap? And like I said, we don't want to promise features that might not make it, but we're going to surprise players with cool stuff they might not be expecting. We do read all the comments and feature requests and try and implement the best fitting ideas. Is there going to be an expansion on the crafting system? Question number 10. There's likely to be new items you can craft as we see what items players want and will improve the game. Number 11, how do you plan to improve the pacing of the game? Effectively, players are just boosting through because a lot of the story is currently marked out on the GPS. And like I've said, they recognise the problem. They've seen players run into the end and not really living or existing in the world, and it is something they'll look into, but they don't have a perfect solution just yet. Is there more building options? Currently the freeform building, while unique, is also limited in what you can actually do. There's going to be new ghosts added as well as improvements and extensions to the freeform system. Question 13, does N-Night plan to add more enemies and mutants or change the ones currently within the game? And like I said, we have at least one character that wasn't ready for the first launch, and there may be others we add over in time, including variations on some of the current enemies. Desperately, in my opinion, it needs some sort of water mutant or danger other than just sharks, and maybe something that can fire or do something at range. We need more cannibals basically being able to lob either petrol bombs, skulls filled with toxic gas, I don't know, or bile, something that doesn't stop us just building some sort of platform and being in range and killing them. Number 14, currently cannibal camps are pretty small and they don't really have that many features. And like I said, they've got plans for this. They're going to add more ambient actions for the cannibals to do around their villages and visual improvements such as more types of structures they can live in to give the different camps more variety. When is dedicated servers going to be implemented? That's question number 15. Apparently that was one of the most asked questions. And like I said, this is something we're working on in the background, but we don't have an exact date yet. Number 16, does the team plan to add additional building materials and more crafting or cooking? Again, this was one of the most asked. And like I said, they've got a prototype of a more advanced cooking system and will likely come into the game in a future patch once it's further developed. Number 17, I like this question. Why was early access announced so late? What are the plans after early access? And like I said, we really struggled with deciding we would delay another 6 to 8 months or release an early access and have the community help us get the game to the finish line. We had a good experience with our first title in early access that we eventually decided it would be the best idea. Yeah, maybe not a great answer there. It's just what we've seen from like what they announced earlier. Bottom line, this game I don't think would even be ready in 6 to 8 months. It's a fantastic game. I'm enjoying it. I'm loving it. But at the moment, there are so many things missing that make it a cohesive experience that you want to spend hundreds upon hundreds of hours in. And even if you want to take it as a just small experience, which you should or can, you have to role play effectively. You have to pretend that, you know, the rest of the map is worth exploring other than just the GPS locations. You have to pretend that you need a base other than building in just one of the tiny little caves that people have found, or simply put in a couple of shells outside the 3D printer cave. Speedrunners are their own breed. They're always going to find ways to just boosting it through to the end of the game quickly and stuff. But even if you're not really maining or trying to do that, it does feel a little bit like some of the systems they promised and spoke about, they're clearly not in the game and they're not fleshed out. And I just can't see how this ever would have been done in 6 to 8 months. Again, just my opinion, I could be wrong. I'm not hating here, I'm just giving a constructive viewpoint after covering so many games over years. I do think this game will be in early access at least another year, possibly longer. And that's okay, but they could have maybe let people know the state of the game a bit more. And that was maybe my little criticism. They should have done a bit more of a rundown, a breakdown. They should have said that certain things maybe weren't going to make it yet, but it's going to be on the horizon. Number 18, are we going to see more wildlife such as bears and wolves? And Knight said no plans for bears or wolves, but possibly other animals. The game desperately needs some other sort of predator. I get, and I've said it and mentioned a bunch of times now, the idea is there are no other predators because the cannibals and the mutants are the alpha predator. So in any kind of environment, you'd expect other creatures that would be dangerous maybe to be reduced in numbers. But I still think there's room to have something like a wolf pack in the mountains, or a grizzled bear in one particular cave. Maybe a waste of resources and art doing it for just one creature, so I can understand why they wouldn't maybe do that. But it does need some more danger. It makes the rest of the island, which is so massive, feel really good if we saw something. Maybe some wildcats. Super annoying, not terribly deadly, but something that would maybe come and attack you now and then every time you're trying to do some hunting. And since we've got so many cans of cat food, how about we could actually tame one of them cats and make it into the third companion? Yeah. Or just have some of the creatures right now maybe being a bit more hostile. Mooses kind of just run away. I know it might not be strictly accurate, but couldn't they turn around and try and stab us with them big massive horns? Again, just my ideas. What are the bi-weekly updates going to be looking like? Will it be quality of life, or are we going to see more new stuff added? They're going to alternate between 2 to 4 week patches depending on what they're trying to get in. Each patch will include different things, from further story, cutscene additions to new features and items, along with lots of bug fixes and improvements. So that's good. Give them credit for that. Having that countdown, which they did with the original, apparently was pretty good. And I don't mind that either. If they need more time to work on one particular issue, it's better doing that than putting out updates every 2 weeks that maybe aren't hitting it or they have to revise. So leading on with that, number 20 is, with the success of the game, are they kind of reevaluating their early access plans and the length of early access? And Knight just simply responded in the same way. They've got a rough estimate of 6 to 8 months, but they'll constantly reevaluate as development progresses. They just want to make the coolest game possible. Number 21 is there going to be a DLC and mod support, and basically they said they're going to talk more about this as they get into early access. Is there going to be more to do with hunting and survival aspects of the game? And Knight said we've got some ideas but nothing concrete we can share. Number 23, is there going to be more prefab buildings and stuff from the first game, or will everything be new? They've said they're trying to add mostly new stuff, but if something that was in the first game makes sense, it's fun, we're not opposed to adding it. Number 24, is there going to be changes to the environment to make certain places more challenging? And they've said yeah, they're going to add and change stuff throughout early access. And number 25, the log sled, is it making a return? And the devs have said they didn't realise how much players really enjoyed the first one because it was quite buggy and had issues. But now they've realised how much players liked it, they will maybe think about adding it back into the game. So yeah, expect to see that in an update soon. Once you get a zip line, I think it's still much better than having a sled, but I get the idea of having a small sled. I mean, Kelvin really is your sled. So there we go. There were some good questions there. I don't blame him for maybe not having the most robust answers. They're still probably trying to frantically fix bug fixes and stuff. But some of these answers, I do feel like they could have expanded a little bit. Like if you're not going to have a roadmap, when you're an early access game, you're not going to have any tentative plans. It's kind of not a done thing anymore. Like things have moved on from the original game and early access. Most games that launch in early access do have a roadmap. That said, the amount of crap that the Valheim devs got for changing and cancelling some parts of their roadmap, maybe that's why they don't want to release it and stuff. But this is their second game at night. I feel like they've got more experience from their original to take, so surely it's good enough to maybe give a little bit about what could potentially be coming first. I know that's just an opinion, that's why I really preface this. Our opinions are wrong, they're right, whatever. Agree, disagree, let me know in the comment section down below. And if you want to see me suck at playing Sons of the Forest, come watch me live pretty much daily at the moment on brand new channel JPG 100 days, live streaming completely and getting the game done as it is right now up to 100 days, and then you'll see a nice big edited video of it as well. Until next time, rat bags, laters.